I remember seeing a sign once at a business that said, "In God we trust, all others pay cash." In this country, during our current financial meltdown, we need to ask ourselves if we really do trust in the Lord. Today, we're going to take a look at two personal stories about learning to trust God for everything, including finances.
The wicked borrow and do not repay, but the righteous give generously.
It's not a good thing to be in debt. It's very scary.
And how does a kid who's now 20 pay back $100,000?
Overwhelming debt and the inability to make payments is a surefire formula for an economic crisis, whether on a personal level or on a national scale, as we're seeing now. As Christians, we must ask ourselves, what does money have to do with faith?
Our coins are stamped, and our money is stamped with the phrase, "In God we trust." Do we really? Much of our spending today would indicate that we do not trust in God.
Seminary professor Dr. Del Tackett points to the intersection of finances and faith.
The scripture, of course, is very clear that there is nothing evil, inherently evil, about material goods at all. In fact, we are to prosper with those goods. But when we begin to worship them, as Jesus said, no man can serve two masters. You cannot serve both God and mammon.
Growing up in Hollywood, Florida, Kevin Cross made a crucial decision about God and money.
I grew up in a Christian family, wonderful people, sent me to Christian school to stay out of trouble and to kind of learn the right stuff. But there was something missing. I had a poverty of my soul, and I needed to fill it with something, and I knew what would do it. It was money.
When we begin to place a higher and higher importance upon material goods, then we begin to lust after more and more material goods. And that means that if we don't have the means to get them, the proper means to get them, then sometimes we will take the improper means to get them.
This is the sheriff's office. When I was 19, I worked here.
As an accountant, Kevin was in charge of a large account of unclaimed leftover deposits from evictions and other services performed by the sheriff's office.
So through a series called salami slicing, I embezzled little bits here and there and here and there, and it went unnoticed.
In the book, Embezzlement, a true crime story, Kevin tells how he and a friend stole $300,000, covered their tracks, and survived a life-threatening mob shakedown.
I did more damage in 1 year than most people do their entire life because I didn't know who my God was. And I thought my God was pleasure and money was my idea of how to get there. Well, when the sheriff, the FBI knocked at my door about a year later because of an anonymous tip, life as I knew it ceased to exist.
At age 20, Kevin spent 8 days in the Broward County Jail where he gave his life to Jesus Christ. He was convicted and served 90 days in work release. As he struggled to repay what he stole, he dedicated his finances to God after listening to a Christian financial counselor. Over the years, he built up a successful Christian accounting firm, but left it to provide biblical financial counseling and encouragement to others in need.
And I thought, Lord, if you could use me to impact somebody's life so that they don't have to go through the same suffering that I did, oh Lord, that would be a miracle.
Violet St. Jean was in need of a miracle when she asked Kevin for counsel.
I am a single mom since 2004, after my husband passed away with leukemia.
Originally from Haiti, Violet and her husband Roosevelt had 2 daughters in the United States. Rosette was 9 and Martha was 6 when they lost their father.
It's very scary because I didn't have any experience of death before my husband passed.
After a fire destroyed their home, Violet began falling into debt.
Violet is a walking miracle. Single mom, taking care of her parents, had a $500 and something a month car payment she couldn't afford. I told her, Violet, you gotta get rid of it. You can't afford it.
I didn't expect him to tell me something like that.
She says, Kevin, how am I gonna get to work? How am I gonna drive my children? The same story I hear from every single mom.
He said, Violet, how big is your God? I said, I know my God is bigger than anything else. He said, okay, this is what God has for you. And he gave me a car keys.
Kevin gave Violet the key to a car that had been donated specifically for a single mother.
My ambition is to be debt-free so I can use my money to do God's work.
It's one of the great privileges that we have as God's people, that as He prospers us, then we get to be generous to those who are in true need around us. What a grand scheme of God.
Coral Ridge Ministries is a partner-supported outreach founded by the late Dr. D. James Kennedy. Thank you for standing with us as we bring the claims of Christ into homes and hearts across our great nation. To learn more about Coral Ridge Ministries, please visit our website at www.crm.tv. This has been a production of Coral Ridge Ministries.